I'm Lorena, and I wanted to do another tutorial on binding. I don't want to do the whole tutorial on a whole binding on a quilt. I do want to do a kind of trick that I figured out on how to connect the ends of your binding. And so this is what you make binding out of for you to put it all around your quilt. And I have a trick on how to connect your ends. To do this trick, which is a whole lot easier than flipping the end and mushing your quilt together, it's a whole lot easier process to accomplish this. So what I wanted to do is do a small tutorial on how to bring this together. What you are going to need is you're going to need Elmer's glue. You can use a liquid or this thing.
Glue stick.
Glue stick. Okay. Now here I am. I have my 2.5 inch binding, and it's the same concept. I recommend you do this kind of like in the middle so you have room. So here's my 2.5 inch ruler. Mark it. Don't mark it like I just marked it, but mark it. You can open it, and you can mark this straight down. And you have 2.5 inches from this end. I recommend on one end, whatever end you want on top, you mark it all the way through. We're going to get our scissors, and we're going to cut that one end off. You see that? Here's the other end, and we're going to do a straight cut. There you are. Now that I've cut my ends, I'm going to make sure that they sit right on top of each other. So this edge is on this end, and this edge is on this end. It's a little bit over, but it's okay. I'm going to open it, and I'm going to do a triangle. And so here's my triangle. Ouch. I'm going to make my triangle. And the reason this is 2.5 inches, so you need to make your overlapping exactly 2.5 inches. If you do 1.5 inch strips binding, you need to make sure that you draw your lines exactly the size, the width of your binding. So I just ironed that. Now I'm going to fold this over. I'm going to fold this over and make sure that it's a straight, clean seam. And I'm going to iron this. Now, I'm going to make sure, tuck this in. I saw a tutorial of someone tucking it in, but they didn't sew it. They just tucked it in and they left this kind of open. Now, that's not how... I always was told this should be a seam line. So here it fits perfectly on top of each other. Now this is my trick. Remember, we're going to get this Elmer's glue. I saturate the heck out of it. You can just do the end of it. Your triangle part. I know you're going to see this because it's nice and pretty purple. So I'm going to roll it. Yep. Fumble fingers. And I'm going to tuck this in and tuck it. Make sure that this is perfectly a straight line. Make sure that this is kind of like a seam, straight seam. Lay it down, lay my point down, and iron it. What this does, it tacks your piece down. Completely tacks it down. And you can roll it over and iron it, but once you iron it from one side, it's tacked. So now I'm going to open it. And I'm going to pull this tail end up. Now, I hope you see this. That sewn, where I ironed right there, that's where you're sewing. And I'm going to go and sew that down. So here I am with my sewing machine, and here's that ironed triangle that I made. And now that's my seam line, and everything's together. I don't have to fiddle with it. Like my friend said, I spent 3 hours trying to figure it out, because you can have it together and then you turn around and so we're gonna sew and I hope you see that right there. Nice sewn line. So here you have your sewn line, and we're going to just kind of pull. And it's going to tuck under there. We're not going to cut it yet. We want to make sure that everything fits just right. So this is completely, in the sense, straight. There's a seam line, and it's straight. And then after we know and we're sure, we're going to open this open, or pull the extra fabric out. And we're just going to cut that extra fabric off, and then we're going to pull it again. Some people will open the seam. I tend to leave it alone and just iron. And we're just going to go ahead and sew right there, and there's your end, and it fits perfect to your fabric. And so this is 2.5, and this is the 2-inch one. I hope you like this tutorial, because this was awesome.